I tested 5 coffee machines that all wear the word luxury somewhere in their marketing copy. Machines priced between $500 and $3,000. And I wanted to know one simple thing. Does the price tag actually predict the coffee in the cup? Price doesn't measure quality. Testing does. That's the thesis this whole video is built on. And by the end, you're going to see it proven with a stopwatch, a thermometer, and a calculator, not with opinions. Here's why this matters before we get into the machines themselves. Brands spend enormous budgets on language like premium extraction technology, engineered in Italy, proprietary thermal coil, hand-finished housing, none of which is illegal or even dishonest, but almost none of it is independently measurable. A phrase like proprietary technology tells you nothing about extraction temperature stability, which is the actual variable that determines whether your espresso tastes balanced or burnt. Smart buyers see a bigger number on the price tag and assume it must correspond to a bigger number somewhere in performance. Sometimes it does. Often the correlation breaks down completely once you put a thermocouple inside the group head. First up is Breville, specifically the Barista Express Impress, retailing at $749.95, built around a 1600-watt element and a marketed 60-second heat-up time. The claim on the box is barista-quality espresso in under a minute, with zero guesswork thanks to its auto-adjusting tamper. I ran 15 consecutive shots over 3 days, timing heat up with a stopwatch and checking extraction temperature with a probe thermometer inserted at the portafilter. Heat up averaged 58 seconds, which actually beats the claim. Extraction temperature held between 192 and 198 degrees Fahrenheit across all 15 shots. A 6-degree spread that's tight enough to produce consistent, non-bitter espresso every single time. Here's where it gets interesting though. The auto tamper, the headline feature justifying a chunk of that price, applied inconsistent pressure on 6 of the 15 shots, measured by pulling the portafilter and checking puck density by hand. The motor works. The marketing promise of eliminating tamping guesswork does not fully hold up. Verdict: you're paying for real thermal engineering and a mediocre gimmick bundled into the same box. Next is Longhi's Specialista Arte, priced at $599.95. With a claimed 15-bar pump pressure and an advanced sensor grinder promising restaurant-level consistency at home. I ran the same 15-shot protocol. Pump pressure measured at 14.6 bars using an inline gauge, essentially matching the spec sheet. Grind consistency, checked by weighing dose against yield across all 15 shots, stayed within 1/10 of a gram of target, 93% of the time, which is genuinely excellent for a machine at this price point. But then the real test began. The 20 shots in one morning durability check, simulating a busy household. By shot 18, the steam wand pressure had visibly dropped, confirmed by a 30% drop in milk froth volume compared to shot 1, because the boiler couldn't recover heat fast enough for back-to-back demands. Verdict: for a single cup at a time, this machine punches above its price, but it wasn't built for a house of 4 coffee drinkers all wanting lattes within 10 minutes of each other. Third is Jura's ENA8. A fully automatic bean-to-cup machine, priced at $1,999, marketed around its pulse extraction process, a claim that repeated micropulses of water produce deeper, more even flavor extraction than a continuous pour. I tested this against a standard drip extraction using identical beans, identical grind size, and a refractometer to measure total dissolved solids, the actual chemical marker of extraction strength. The pulse extraction process produced a TDS reading of 1.38%, sitting comfortably in the specialty coffee industry's ideal range of 1.15 to 1.35%, just slightly over. A standard single-pour method on a control machine produced 1.31%, well within range too. The difference between the 2 cups, blind tasted by 3 people, was not reliably detectable. Here's where that claim falls apart. The pulse technology is real, and it does work exactly as engineered, but it does not produce a night-and-day difference over simpler, cheaper extraction methods, which undercuts the premium the brand charges specifically for that one feature. Verdict: brilliant engineering solving a problem that wasn't costing you much flavor to begin with. Fourth is Miele's CM63060, sitting at the top of this list at $2,999, built around what the brand calls a one-touch-for-two brewing system and an integrated water filtration cartridge rated to reduce hardness for up to 50 liters. I tested the filtration claim directly, measuring water hardness before and after filtration using test strips calibrated in grains per gallon. Straight from my tap, hardness measured 11 grains per gallon. After passing through the Miele cartridge, it dropped to 4 grains per gallon, a genuine 63% reduction. And that number matters because scale buildup is the single biggest cause of espresso machine failure industry-wide. Where the claim gets shaky is the 50-liter lifespan. By liter 42, hardness readings crept back up to 7 grains per gallon, a 40% drop in filtration efficiency well before the rated capacity. Verdict: the engineering behind long-term reliability is real, but the cartridge life number on the box is optimistic by roughly 20%. Fifth and final is Smeg's BCC02, priced at $549.95. Marketed heavily around its retro Italian design and acclaimed 15-bar thermojet heating system that reaches brewing temperature in under 3 seconds. I clocked heat up with a stopwatch across 10 cold starts. Average time to brewing temperature was 4.2 seconds, close to the claim but not quite matching it. Extraction temperature stability, however, was the real story, swinging between 186 and 204 degrees Fahrenheit across 15 shots, an 18-degree spread, nearly triple the inconsistency measured on the Breville at less than half the price gap. That inconsistency showed up directly in taste, with over-extracted, bitter shots on 4 of the 15 attempts. Verdict: you are paying primarily for the way it looks on your counter, because the thermal engineering inside doesn't match machines that cost significantly less. Before naming which of these 5 actually earns its price, here's what I judged them on. Extraction consistency measures whether the machine hits and holds proper brewing temperature shot after shot, which is the single biggest driver of taste. Durability under repeated use measures whether performance holds up under a realistic household load, rather than just a single showroom demo shot. Cost per use tracks the real long-term math: purchase price plus consumables, like filters, descaling solution, and replacement parts, divided across the life of the machine. Ease of maintenance measures how much specialized upkeep, like proprietary cartridges or dealer-only servicing, the machine demands to keep performing at spec. Running the numbers on cost per use tells its own story. The Longhi at $599.95, factoring in roughly $40 a year in descaling solution and a 5-year realistic lifespan, given the boiler strain we measured, comes out to about 23 cents per cup over 5 years, assuming 2 cups a day. The Miele, despite costing $2,999, factoring in filtration cartridges at roughly $60 a year, but a realistic 8-year lifespan, thanks to that scale protection, comes out to almost exactly 19 cents per cup, cheaper per use than a machine costing 80% less, purely because it survives longer. The winner on this list is the Breville Barista Express Impress, at $749.95. It wins on extraction consistency with that tight 6-degree temperature spread. It wins on cost per use once you factor a realistic 7-year lifespan against its price. And while its auto-tamper feature underperforms its own marketing, the core thermal system, the part that actually makes coffee taste correct, is measurably better than machines costing 3 times as much. Price doesn't measure quality. Testing does, and here that plays out almost backwards, with the mid-priced option beating both the budget luxury Smeg and the ultra-premium Miele, on the metric that matters most for daily use. I ran these findings past an independent appliance repair technician who has served home espresso machines professionally for over a decade, without naming any specific brand to avoid bias, and the pattern she described matched exactly what the numbers showed here. Her experience is that thermal stability and boiler design correlate weakly with sticker price once you cross roughly $600, and that above that threshold, the extra money increasingly buys styling, smart features, and brand servicing networks rather than a meaningfully better core brewing mechanism. That independent read lines up precisely with what the thermometer and refractometer showed across all 5 machines here. So here's the practical breakdown. Buy the Breville Barista Express Impress if you want the strongest balance of consistent extraction and long-term cost efficiency, and you don't mind manually checking your tamp occasionally. Buy the Longhi La Specialista Arte if you're a solo or 2-person household who won't be pulling back-to-back shots for guests. Skip the Jura ENA8 unless the hands-off bean-to-cup convenience itself is worth the premium to you, because the flavor difference from its signature pulse technology is not reliably noticeable. Buy the Miele CM6360 only if you're thinking in an 8 to 10 year horizon and want the lowest long-term cost per use, despite the steep entry price. Skip the Smeg BCC02 if flavor consistency is your priority. And only buy it if the retro counter aesthetic is doing real work for you, because the thermal engineering inside doesn't match its closest priced competitor. Price doesn't measure quality. Testing does. That's true whether you're spending $500 or $3,000. And the only way to know which side of that gap a specific machine falls on is to put a thermometer where the marketing copy can't reach. Tell me in the comments which of these 5 surprised you most. Whether it's the Breville beating machines twice its price, the Jura's pulse extraction not moving the needle on taste, or the Smeg looking better than it brews, and I'll dig into the next batch of luxury kitchen tech based on what you want tested next.